It is midnight in Eastern Africa and 11 p.m. in Southern Africa. In Nigeria, it is 10 p.m. The top stories tonight. Labour considers 1 million naira as new minimum wage. Rights group accuses government of suppressing civil space. National Treasurer of Labour Party accuses chairman of misappropriating 3.5 billion naira. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Tonight. I am Felicity Ezewike. Our coverage begins with the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Deji Ajare. He has said that if the ongoing inflation continues, organized labor might push for a new minimum wage of up to 1 million naira for Nigerian workers. Ajare said the demand from organized labor will be influenced by the cost of living, which has been increasing since President Bola Tinubu assumed office, notably due to the removal of fuel subsidy and other policies. Both the NLC and the Trade Union Congress last week, Thursday, issued a 14-day strike notice to the federal government, expressing frustration over its failure to implement a 16-point agreement signed in October 2023. The unions demanded the government fulfill its obligations within the stipulated 14-day period starting Friday, February 9, 2024. President Bola Tinubu has stated that his administration is transforming the agricultural sector to make Nigeria self-sufficient in food production and a net exporter of agricultural goods. The goals of increased domestic food sourcing and agricultural exports are coming at a time the country battles food inflation and shortages. There are valid questions regarding execution, given that farmers continue to face challenges of insecurity and climate change within Nigeria. News Center's Ni Omoni has more.
As a farmer for over 35 years in northeast Nigeria, Abakali has faced significant security challenges. However, these years' difficulties have been particularly severe. But these won't stop him from farming.
Not possible can say insecurity is not going to the farmers. How people they are hanging around everybody at their sofa? Their local government. You're going to the Jere now. You're going to the Difwa now. You're going to the Martian now. Why are you telling me that insecurity they are stopping for that?
Abba Kali's experience is shared by many others in Nigeria's agricultural communities. Gagarin Madaka, chairman of the Ginger Farmers Association in northwest Kaduna, notes that insecurity is not the sole issue confronting farmers.
So you must have the seeds and plant it at the right time. You must farm the fertilizer must be put at the right time. But I find out that this guy has seeds, he has fertilizer, he doesn't have herbicides, he does not have. They don't even follow the food protocol for farming. What is the food protocol? You do soil tests. Yes. Well, these issues have been there before security. Security came and affected some parts of the country. Some parts, not all the parts. And where are the security? Did they go and attack the farmers? Yes, in secluded, the losses from those are not enough to have an impact on Nigeria's food production.
The ongoing conflict in northeast Nigeria has displaced over 2.2 million people across Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe State. According to World Food Programme, an additional 4.4 million face food insecurity. Of concern, 26.5 million Nigerians are projected to face acute hunger in the June to August 2024 lean season. The government recently declared a state of emergency to address nationwide food shortages and stabilize escalating prices by releasing grain reserves to farmers.
We are going to cultivate more farmlands. We are going to equip farmers with low interest or no interest loans. Nigeria would become net exporters of food.
Whether these ambitious agenda can be successfully implemented remains to be seen.
We have been hearing about potential since. Now it is time for action. So if there's that political will, have short-term plan that within the next 3 months is what we're going to do, for agriculture. And we're not just mouthing it, we're taking concrete steps and action to make sure that within the next 3 months, those things are done. Then we'll go to medium term within the next 3 years. Then we can now plan long term, 5 years, 10 years from now. Agriculture will turn our economy around.
Without addressing these challenges, including the climate crisis, farmers like Abakali will still struggle to feed their families alongside many Nigerians, a harrowing choice that is all too common for farmers and citizens alike. In Lagos for News Central, Ni Omani.
Sterling Law Center, a leading justice and human rights advocacy group based in Abuja, has expressed deep concern over the shrinking civil space under the government of President Bola Tinubu. The group, in a statement released on Monday, said it is alarmed by the recent incidents involving the ridiculous arrest and threat of prosecution of peaceful protesters who are rallying against the rising cost of food and the general high cost of living in Nigeria. It's noted that the right to peaceful protest is a fundamental cornerstone of any democratic society, and that it is disheartening to witness the government's assault on this basic right of its citizens. To discuss this, I'm joined by Executive Director, Sterling Center for Law, Deji Ajare. Thank you very much, Deji, for giving us your time. Your group accused the government of suppressing the civil space. Do you mind shedding light on this?
Thank you very much for having me, and good evening. Well, we consider it a concerning development since the coming of the current administration of President Bola Tinubu. There appears to have been a conscious and deliberate attempt to build on the suppression and the shrinking of the civil space that was inherited from that of President Muhammadu Buhari. And there have been several events that, of course, would give one worry and concern in this regard. But lately, we noted the arrest and detention of peaceful protesters in Minna, Niger State, who were protesting, rising cost of food, rising cost of living generally. And, we're doing so in full exercise of their fundamental rights as guaranteed under the Nigerian Constitution, the African Charter of Human Rights, Human and People's Rights, and other international instruments to which Nigeria is bound. Now, one will be concerned that a sensitive government, seeing its citizens protesting high cost of food, would want to engage them and probably want to explain, want to break down efforts it is making to ensure that the price of goods go down. It would want to take advantage of that opportunity to explain its policies, and if indeed it is convinced that its policies are such that may hurt in the short term, but in the long term be favorable for the economy generally, one would expect that it is an opportunity for the government to engage with the people, to engage in conversations that will ensure that the people, they rebuild the trust that the people have in them. But rather than do that, they went ahead to arrest women in clear violation of their freedom of expression and freedom of assembly. Fundamental rights, which, like I had said earlier, are guaranteed in the Constitution and other international human rights instruments. These women were simply exercising their rights to peaceful protest, raising legitimate concerns about the worsening economic conditions in the country. Now, instead of addressing their grievances, you stifle dissent, you suppress citizens' voices. Government should not be engaged in that. It is a clear act of insensitivity to the plight of Nigerians.
Okay, if I may butt in, sir, you affirm in your statement that there seemed to be a violation of these rights, the rights to peaceful protest in this country. If you were asked on what scale and what should be done about it, aside from, talking now, what more can we do to get the government to respect these rights? But first, At what scale do you think these rights are being violated in the country?
Now, first, let me come this way. It is immaterial what people are protesting about. It is their right. Like I have always told people, even the most stupid of things can be protested about, and it is a right that people have. Now, in this case, you're now talking about legitimate germane issues that concerns every Nigerian. I mean, that is apparent even to the blind, that is obvious to the blind, and even to the deaf. Everyone knows that the policies that have been implemented by this government has wrought hardship on the people. Now, as regard on what scale have these rights been violated, I think every violation of a right is an unjust act, and it must be remediated. So, in fact, the arrest and detention of these women is already a gross and grave violation that should concern each and every one of us as citizens. Now, let me tell you one thing. When you have a government that has dictatorial tendencies like this, if the citizens do not rise immediately to also object to such acts of brigandage by government, then you are going to have the scale increasing. Now, it has happened in one state. The next thing you're going to find is every form of dissent is going to be repressed by the government around the country if we do not stand up to reject this. Now, I will tell you, in just a few days ago, the chief of staff to the president, the Right Honorable Deji Ajare, was quoted as saying that social media needs to be regulated. That is a very, very grievously concerning statement. One, again, that's
well, if I not to try to hold forth for anybody, but when you talk about freedom of expression, freedom to protest, freedom to say what you want to say, is that right limited just to the citizens, the leaders, and those in position of power? Can't they express themselves? I mean, he said. I listened to what he said. He also said that civic societies fought him really hard to stop those changes. Isn't that what a democratic society should be?
Oh, no. I'll tell you, there is a burden of leadership that people like Right Honorable Deji Ajare hold. They owe the citizens a duty. The citizens do not owe them that duty. Now, if any citizen goes beyond its right of freedom of speech, then of course, there are adequate laws to take care of that already. But when leaders start making statements that are threatening to the citizenry, then that leader needs to be looked into deeply. And the basis, the philosophical foundation of that person's leadership ambition must be questioned. When the only reason Right Honorable Deji Ajare feels like social media should be regulated is because they find clear, the people have utilized it as a clear avenue for dissent, for expressing themselves, whether the government agrees with it or not. And I think that it is not for government to suppress any avenue where the citizens have chosen to express themselves, especially where it is dissent against activities of government. And so while it is true that this right applies to every citizen, the leaders inclusive, I will tell you that the expressions, the statements made by our leaders must be questioned. They must be interrogated. And one would ask, what is the basis? What is the reason? Don't we have enough laws at the moment to take care of anybody who goes beyond their brief and make statements that are libelous, or on social media, for instance, or for instance, persons who engage in cyberbullying and so on? We have enough laws already. And so one will be suspicious. One will cast that statement as suspect, and one will want to interrogate the main intention behind the desire to regulate social media.
I mean, the essence of asking questions is to deepen understanding via different perspective, and you've shared yours. We appreciate that. But before you go, I want to ask, you also kicked against the recent introduction of the bill to regulate the activities of non-governmental organizations in Nigeria. What really are your concerns, and what are the potential implications of this bill if passed into law?
Thank you. Now, you see, my concerns, our concern at Sterling Law Center as well, and that of quite a lot of members of the civil society, as have been expressed over the years, in the past 9 or 10 years since 2015, are that the government seems to be hell-bent, just like the social media, on regulating civil society organizations. Now, I will first tell you that civil society organizations are they are an important part of our democratic experience. They play a crucial role in advocating for human rights, promoting good governance, addressing social justice issues. They act as like watchdogs, ensuring transparency and accountability in government. This bill, when you interrogate it carefully, you will find that it's the intent. And I am talking about this bill as a continuous one that has been presented over time. Remember, this is about the third or fourth time it has been presented and rejected roundly by Nigerians. If you look at the contents, you will see that the intention is not one aimed at achieving any form of positive for government, but it is merely intended to intimidate and harass those who play within that sector to ensure that government now control them. The government should recognize and appreciate the vital role that NGOs play in promoting democracy and the development in our society. So
all
it
right,
is
Deji.
important.
It is very important, and that's why advocacy group like yours and others are needed. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Nurses under the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, NMCN, are protesting the new verification certification guidelines released by the council. The protest, which were being carried out at the NMCN's office in Yaba, Lagos, is seeking the verification of certificates to foreign nursing boards, and councils must possess 2 years post-qualification experience. News Center's Omolola Ololade has more.
Chanting solidarity songs and carrying placards that reads, "Let the nurse breathe," and "No to verification rules." The National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Lagos State Chapter, expressed their dissatisfaction over the new verification guidelines released by the Nigerian Nurses and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. The revised guidelines for requesting verification of certificate for nurses and midwives states that a non-refundable fee per application shall be paid for verification to foreign boards of nursing as specified on the portal. It also mentioned that eligible applicants must have a minimum of 2 years post-qualification experience from the date of issuance of the permanent practicing license, a move these nurses have described as a hindrance to their career progression.
We are nurses licensed by the NMCN. Yes. So, lawfully, we should not be expecting our own regulatory body to refer us back to any head or CMD to give us authorization letter for our own verification. That is totally wrong and an act of human rights violation.
The issue is underemployment of nurses in Nigeria.
Yes.
We have thousands of nurses that are unemployed.
Yes.
You are not employing them, and you don't want them to go and get employment where they want it. What do you want them to do? What we are asking is this: remove the verification circular that you have just released, remove it.
The new verification guidelines was signed by the Registrar of the Council, Dr. Farouk Abubakar. He believes the new guidelines will help retain some of Nigeria's medical talent and provide solutions to Nigeria's medical brain drain. In response to this, the Nigerian nurses are demanding an immediate withdrawal of the circular.
We actually want the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria to withdraw the circular within 48 hours. We hereby want to let you know that we will be going on national strike, irrespective of whatsoever the condition might have been.
With the outcry from the Nigerian nurses through this protest, It is hoped that the government will listen to their yearnings and make necessary adjustments. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
You're watching Nigeria Tonight on News Central. Coming up, court adjourns former CBN Governor Emefele's trial over alleged fraud. We have details after the break. Do stay with us. If you've just joined us, you're watching Nigeria Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Labour considers 1 million naira as new minimum wage. Nurses protest new verification certification guidelines. National Treasurer of Labour Party accuses chairman of misappropriating 3.5 billion naira. The Labour Party is grappling with a fresh crisis sparked by Oluchi Opara, the National Treasurer, who demanded accountability from Julius Abure, the National Chairman, regarding the party's finances. The finances amount to over 3.5 billion naira, derived from form sales and other fundraising activities for the 2023 general elections. Opara made these assertions during a news briefing in Abuja on Monday, February 12. The treasurer contends that she is unable to fulfill her legally mandated duty of managing the party's finances due to the actions of the national chairman. She highlighted that since the conclusion of form sales before the 2023 general elections, the chairman has avoided taking comprehensive steps to facilitate an audit of the party's financial records. Meanwhile, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Obiora Ifo, has refuted the claims. Ifo made this declaration in a statement released on Monday. To further discuss this, I'm joined by National Publicity Secretary, Lamidi Apapa-led faction, Abayomi Arabambi. Thank you very much, Abayomi, for giving us your time. In the press briefing earlier today, you claimed that the factional national chairman is using the party's bank accounts to fund terrorism and to cause a violent overthrow of the civilian administration of President Bola Tinubu. Can you substantiate these claims?
Well, thank you very much. It's not today. Actually, we've been complaining about this malfeasance and economic robbery by Julius Abure. But we are happy that from his own side now, the treasurer, who was the treasurer ever before Abure even ascended to the position of the acting national chairman in 2021, a motion that I moved and seconded by the Kano State, chairman then in Benin, Edo State. You see, what Abure has forgotten is that Labour Party is a creation of the Nigerian Constitution. And it's very clear from chapter 1 of that Constitution that any conflict of interest between any edict, law, or promulgation against the Nigerian Constitution, to such any or such consistency, such law will be set aside. So, we have been demanding this from Abure for a very long time. I am very close. I've spent 16 years in Labour Party now, out of which I spent 8 years as state chairman in Ogun. So everybody will know that we've been on ground for a long time. Abure actually have been funding terrorism. And thank God this woman actually exposes him today, because when you don't have business with Labour Party, why would somebody just be transferring 50 million, 30 million, 15 million to unknown people who were, something that were not receipted for? They didn't come to NWC for any project, but you just transfer money to them. What for? And do not forget, after the election.
Abayomi, I must interject because you're making a strong allegation on national television. My question to you, sir, is can you substantiate these claims?
That is what I'm saying.
What you're doing is allegation. You're alleging. That's the person that alleges must prove.
That is what we are saying. You see, I said, we are privy to these accounts. Like in your organization, is it possible for someone to just transfer 50 million to somebody for just no reason? And you should be also, take cognizance of the fact that a lot of people have been going on here that, oh, the president is a criminal, he was illegally elected. They are going to make Nigeria.
Do you have the details of the 50 million naira that was transferred? Was there, I mean, when
let me tell you something. I have submitted over 1 year petition against Abure to the Ethics and Privilege Committee of NBA. Nothing was done. Their chairman is listening to me. I have a petition that I've submitted with transfer bank statement. My dear sister, nothing has been done because Abure said he has all the power and money to suppress an investigation. I have petition submitted with statement of account of how Abure was transferring money, but nothing was done, and that is Nigeria for you.
Did you follow up? One thing is, I'm asking this question because it is our job to ask the questions, and it is left for you to choose to answer or not. If you say you have written petitions, have you followed up? What are these? Is it the EFCC that you wrote to? Is it the NBA that you wrote to? What did they say in response? Are they silent?
Committee. My petition is almost 1 year. When I ask them, oh, it is not the turn of your petition. When you ask not the turn of your petition, a petition that I attach document to, they say it's not the turn of my petition. Maybe when the work comes to an end, it will be the turn of my petition. But I know they are listening to me. I submitted a petition there, and my petition has number, but they have not done anything, and I attach all the detail of the bank transfer. I attach it there, but they are there.
So, but those transfer translate as evidence about an alleged terrorism act. Because terrorism, you know what the implication is. Sponsoring terrorism, is there details in that transaction that confirms?
When you pay money to an individual that has no business with the party, what are you paying the person for? To go and bring Jesus Christ or Prophet Muhammad to Nigeria for you? No. He needed to explain, and you could see a lot.
All right, well, how would you react to the National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifor, refuting the claims by the Treasurer? He's accusing the Treasurer of reading out a concocted statement drafted by detractors to further tar the image of the party.
Obiora Ifor is not a member of the Labour Party. He's a PA to Abure, so I'm not going to refer to him as a Nigerian Public Secretary. He was just a PA, to Abure. He was working with Sunday's paper before Abure drafted him.
Some would also say you are not a member. Some people will also allege that you are not a member of the Labour Party. There are factions in the Labour Party. Who is...
No, my answer to this is this. In a constitution, in a country that is governed by constitution, when you are restrained by a court in Nigeria, and you are still parading yourself in that same position, some people must not be trusted with power. Abure, you know that woman said Abure committed forgery. I'm going to give you one example. You said whoever alleges must prove. We wrote.
All right, Abayomi, I mean,
let me learn. We wrote to FCTI court, and they returned back to us that document that Abure uses to change those candidates was forged. We have been able to prove that because the institution that gave us document said that document never came from them, it was forged. All
right, I mean, pending the investigation of the bodies that you've sent your petition to and pending response from the Abure team, these remains allegations. Thank you very much, Abayomi, for speaking with us. Thank you. Thank you for speaking with us. We appreciate your time. Now, Deputy Director, Branch Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Onyeka Ogbu, says Godwin Emefiele, former CBN governor, sought approval for the disbursement of 6,230,000 to international election observers. Ogbu said this while testifying before a Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama as the first prosecution witness in a suit against Emefiele. Leading the witness in evidence on Monday, Rotimi Ayedepo, EFCC lawyer, asked Ongu to speak on certain documents regarding the case. Counsel to Emefiele, Matthew Booker, however, objected, adding that the prosecution is bound by the evidence presented in the documents. After listening to their submission, Justice Hamza Mwazu adjourned till Tuesday for the continuation of the trial. The former governor of the central bank, Godwin Emefiele, is standing trial on an amended 20-charge bordering on criminal conspiracy, conferring undue advantage and breach of trust, among others, preferred against him by the EFCC. Nigeria's House of Representatives Committee on Crude Oil Theft has inspected the vessel suspected to be used for oil theft. The vessel was arrested by operatives of the Tantita security outfit with responsibility of fighting oil theft in the Niger Delta region. The inspection was carried out when the committee visited Oproza in Gbaramatu Kingdom of Delta State. The committee also commended the operatives for standing up to the menace that has dragged down Nigeria's economy. They also paid a courtesy call on Chief Government Ekpemupolo, also known as Tompolo.
When you find someone doing a very good job, to whom much is given, as to whom much is expected, much is accepted. So I want to tell you without any fear of contradiction, what Tantita is doing here is a quite commendable job. We as a house commended him. The committee has commended him, and we must see to the needful. Whatever is due for him has to be given.
My mandate is equally to protect the critical national infrastructure, especially the oil installations in Delta State. We've been in partnership with Tantita, and the arrest was made by a joint team from Tantita and my sector. And presently, the ship is under the custody of my sector. So we will be evacuating the arrested crew members to Abuja in the next 2 or 3 days. First intelligence agency will come and pick them up, and then they'll continue from there.
For on-the-spot assessment of the vessel arrested by Tantita Group of Companies Limited. And we have seen the vessels, they are 2 in number. We have been able to interview the captain, and even they showed us some of the inmates, some of the people that were caught in the act. And we have interviewed them, and they have accepted culpable of the allegation against them, which the security is going to probe into it more. For some time now, Nigeria as a people, NMPC, we've not had it so good like this. Before now, our barrel per day was less than a million barrels per day. But as today, you can see that we are now making about 1,000 plus. And of course, at the National Assembly, 1 million plus. We're having 1 million plus. And our budgeted crude estimate per day is 1,800,000, 1.8. So, but by the grace of God, the way Tantita is working is going to.
As the Nigerian army continues in its efforts to enthrone sustainable security in the country, the need for personnel to display a high level of discipline in the discharge of their duties has been reiterated. This was the crux of the one-day event in Jos Plateau State organized by the Nigerian Army Department of Training and Doctrine Command. News Center's Chizoba Anyowe was there and now reports.
Over 500 personnel from all the formations of the Nigerian Army in the country converged on the plateau hosted by the 3 Armored Division Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Rukuba. They have gathered for the 2024 Lieutenant to Captain Practical Promotion Examination that will remold and pitch them to a higher level of their career. It is not business as usual, but rather an event to further inculcate in them core values of the Nigerian Army for the tasks ahead.
It is often said that success in life is only attainable through hard work and dedication. While this is true, however, success in the profession of arms which you belong demands more than the aforesaid. In addition to hard work and dedication, you must be disciplined, courageous, and exemplary leader, among other essential attributes. These virtues form the core values of Nigerian Army, and it is on this premise that your career trajectory would be assured.
If these candidates will contribute their quota to Nigeria's peacekeeping mission, then the assessment of their proficiency and development is of great importance.
It also seeks to expand your knowledge and understanding of various aspects of military operations, including counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations, internal security operations, navigation, as well as hybrid operations, which are all imperative in addressing the myriad of the current security challenges facing our dear nation. Therefore, the relevance of this examination in building your leadership and capacity to achieve national security objectives cannot be overemphasized.
Aside from a 13-kilometer combat walk, 2.3-kilometer run, and vertical rope climbing, among others, the candidates will also be examined in French language and 7 other subjects to qualify for their next ranks. In Jos for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowi.
You're watching Nigeria Tonight. Still to come, Unity School's old students seek improved teachers training. We'll tell you more after the break. Do join us again. Old students of Unity schools in Nigeria have called on the federal government to invest more in the training of teachers with digital skills to help them catch up with growing technological advancement in the education sector. They say this will greatly improve learning outcomes for students across the country and called on government to improve the current state Unity schools are in, saying they are fast losing their standards and foundational principles. Idong Joseph reports.
The earliest attempt to establish Unity schools was in 1966, when 3 federal government colleges were established in the eastern, northern, and midwestern regions to foster national unity and cohesion by bringing pupils from different parts of the country together through education. However, with about 110 Unity schools across the country, there are concerns that some of these schools are fast losing their standards and the fundamental principles for which they were established.
The federal government of Nigeria used taxpayers' money to train South Africans, to train Zimbabweans, Namibians, basically, to prepare them and their capacity for their own independence. Okay, so these were not only just local schools, they were international schools, all right?
There were some policies in place that had eroded the policies that were more of a uniting factor. And finally, very sadly, I noticed that the values and the ethics that we all shared were really no longer there.
All students of these Unity schools, during a visit to the Ministry of Education in Abuja, pledged their commitment to support efforts aimed at restoring the glory of Unity schools in their bids to give back to the society. The visit also brought the training of teachers to the front burner. The old students are saying investing in teachers, especially in their digital skills, will have tremendous impact on students.
I mean, you used to see teachers smartly dressed, well presented. The ethos and values, the ethics of teaching need to also come back. And then for those of them who have been there, to please, retraining is also very critical.
I think what we need to do is to start with your request to revamp the USOSA desk. And then we take it to the next level to have a kind of interorganizational committee that would work closely to bring about the things that we want to see in the unity schools.
While access to public education, teachers' training, and also the tools needed to enhance teaching outcome are major concerns affecting Nigeria's educational sector. These old students say a partnership with government can help solve these challenges. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
The UK Minister for Business and Trade, Kemi Badenoch, has visited the first British independent school in West Africa, Charterhouse School. She noted that it was part of the UK's government commitment to supporting Nigeria's desire to offer high-quality education at home. News Centre's Bettina Uweli reports.
Founded in 1611, Charterhouse has been home to preeminent thinkers, creators, writers, and leaders. This rich history and the school's underlying values all feed into the essence of Charterhouse Lagos. Recent talks between the UK and Nigeria have helped to remove restrictions to transactional education investments in Nigeria, worth around £50 million, enabling UK higher education institutions to build partnerships with their Nigerian counterparts.
I don't think it is sustainable for everybody to believe that they can send their children to the UK. Well, we have children from all around the world coming to the UK, and we have started these franchise schools like Charterhouse, like Dulwich, in the Middle East, in Asia, and this is the biggest endeavor in all of West Africa. I have never seen a site as big as this. It's bigger than the ones that I've heard of in the Middle East and in Asia, and I think it is a testament to the fact that people want to invest in Nigeria. They want a good investment environment in Nigeria, but they also want to invest in the things that Nigerians want as well, which is an excellent education for their children.
The school, set to open its doors come September 2024, aims to deliver a strong academic curriculum with day and boarding facilities, with a focus on intra- and extracurricular activities, including sports, arts, and science.
It is the first British branded school. Yes, there are some great schools here. What we're also doing differently, we have world-class facilities, we have world-class international teachers, we have an amazing teacher training program. So what we're doing is bringing all of the elements that you would expect in an international school and offering them here in Lagos. And that is the first time anyone has done it. You'll find it in so many other cities across the world, but not Nigeria.
While in Lagos, Minister Badenoch will meet with other key businesses as well as the British Development Finance Institution and the British International Investment to discuss trade and investment opportunities for businesses on both sides. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Unwili.
The click-clack of typewriters may be fading into history as artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping the landscapes of journalism, from uncovering hidden patterns in vast data sets to crafting personalized news experiences. AI's impact is undeniable. News Centre's Chidimma Oda has more.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is no longer just science fiction. It is quietly revolutionizing newsrooms globally. But how much do people know about AI, and what exactly is its role in journalism?
So we're here with trainers from the Voice of America and South Africa's Daily Maverick to help expose Nigerian journalists to some of the cutting-edge reporting techniques, as well as some baseline information about artificial intelligence. As artificial intelligence continues to explode around the world, it's impacting both journalism, but also public policy and a variety of interests in every sector. So as Nigeria's journalists become better equipped to report on this phenomenon, they'll become better equipped to help us here in Nigeria and around the world understand it and explain it to Nigeria's citizenry.
I think it's going to play a huge role. I think our Consul General, Will Stevens, said it best, in which Mr. Stevens said it has great opportunities and great risks. It can help you do your jobs, but you need to be on the lookout for problems and mistakes.
With AI, mountains of data are collected at superpowered speed. Understanding its usefulness as a research assistance for journalists is crucial in navigating the ever-evolving news landscape.
I think AI offers tremendous opportunities for journalists to learn and understand complex issues. It also gives them some fascinating topics of fodder for new policy discussions. So absolutely important to journalists around the world.
We are having more digitalized journalism on social media, on the internet and all that. So most of these processes are controlled by AI. So if we are going to move forward, we need to embrace it.
While using AI as a powerful tool offers impressive advantages, it's not replacing journalists. The human element remains significant. As humans, journalists still tell stories that resonate with audiences. Now it is up to them to use it responsibly and ethically.
That it won't replace humans yet. Right now, don't worry about your jobs. You're going to have your jobs. You're going to keep your jobs. Hopefully, AI will help your revenue streams at your organization so you really can keep your jobs. But we don't know what's happening in the future. And so we're all on tenterhooks to see how fast this is changing. But at this point, it won't.
I've gotten so much knowledge on how I could use AI to enhance TV production, make journalism better, especially in Nigeria, where we need so much work, where there's so much work to be done.
Experts believe the future of journalism lies in collaboration between humans and AI. This partnership holds the potential for a more informed, engaged, and empowered society.
For the latest in sports, let's join our sports desk.
Well, I'm in Nigeria, and all my life, from my days as a kid, I have served Nigeria as a player, and I continue to serve Nigeria. And I think if Nigerians find me fit to add value, and not just about coaching. One thing is coaching is different, is to add value to the team. And if Nigeria find me value of that, of course, it's a welcome development. But for now, I think, it's not necessary talking about this issue. Let us, sympathize with our players. Let us sympathize with the team.
Super Eagles star Alex Iwobi has deleted photos from his Instagram page following Nigeria's loss to Ivory Coast in the final of the 2023 African Cup of Nations. The Nigerian side were defeated 2-1 by the host, ending the team's dreams of a fourth continental crown. As after the encounter, Iwobi, who has been a subject of stiff criticisms from fans, deleted photos from his Instagram handle for fear of cyber abuse. He only left one video post. Iwobi featured for 79 minutes in Nigeria's defeat to Ivory Coast and was replaced by Al-Hassan Yusuf. Before the recent development, something similar took place at the aftermath of Super Eagles' ouster from the 2021 African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. Iwobi and a teammate, Maduka Okoye, were also heavily criticized after the team lost to Tunisia in the round of 16, prompting them to disable comments on their social media handles. Finally, in the world of sport, Nigeria Taekwondo star Elizabeth Ayanacho has sealed her place in the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Ayanacho won the African Taekwondo Championship in Dakar, Senegal in 2024, and in a sport in the Olympics. She competed in the women's 67 kg division, and her remarkable talent and perseverance carried her to the final, where she secured a spot in the esteemed international tournament. In 2020, Ayanacho made her Olympic debut. However, the event was a disappointing experience for her. Currently living in Germany, Ayanacho is hoping for a better experience in France later this year. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
And that's all tonight, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the big stories. Labour has considered 1 million naira as new minimum wage. Nurses have protested new verification certification guidelines. We also brought you news that National Treasurer of Labour Party has accused the chairman of misappropriating 3.5 billion naira. Would like to hear from you? Please send your eyewitness reports to the number showing now on your screen, or you could follow us on social media at News Central TV. We're live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for your time. Good night.